Mr. Chairman, I would just say that I believe there were legitimate concerns about Mr. Southers, and I think those concerns deserve to be investigated. So I hope that we can move forward with a new nominee, because we certainly need an experienced person in that position, but it also needs to be a person who would assure the respect of the people in the agency to have the authority to assure that the agency is doing its job. I do think that every one of you have done a lot to try to put America in a place where we can be more secure. I think the members of the 9/11 Commission certainly have given many volunteer hours to give advice early on after 9/11, and I think the members of our administration as well are working very hard, and no one disputes that you are doing everything that you know to do, but I think now we need to look at what has happened and learn from that, and we need to go forward in a constructive way. The plot that unfolded on Christmas Day just shows that the defense of our homeland from terrorists is dependent on information collection and sharing, intelligence analysis, and the vigilance of our security personnel, and that none of these can be effective without the other. And if there's anything that we have learned from my experience that happened in my home state of Fort Hood, and then this one on its heels, it's that we're not sharing enough. And what the chairman said about after 9/11 saying, oh yes, our intelligence agencies cannot actually talk to each other, that is a very small first step. And we need to perfect that, and quickly. The President's own initial review has concluded that if our intelligence analysts had pieced together the information at their disposal about the attempted bomber, there would have been sufficient grounds to place him on the terrorist watch list, perhaps averting what happened. Going forward, I think that we need to look at several things. We need to look at expanding the number of known or suspected terrorists and their associates who are placed on screening lists, even though in the short term, this may result in more mistaken matches. Number two, I think we need to expedite the adoption of programs that will aid the process, such as the complete implementation of the Secure Flight Program, which will take the ultimate screening responsibility away from air carriers and place it completely within the security agency. It has more access to intelligence than a private airline could have, making our screening efforts more effective. Progress on that program has been positive of late, but we need to move faster if we can. And number three, I think it is very important that we better synthesize intelligence data, especially in relation to associates of known terrorists or those who may be connected to potential terrorist threats. Since 9/11, we have been in a new era of conflict. However, recently, we have seen a series of disturbing changes in our fundamental mission of how we deal with terrorists and terrorist threats, most starkly in the decision to bring the perpetrators of the 9/11 attacks to New York for civil trials in our courts and the closing of Guantanamo Bay. Mr. Chairman, this country and its leaders need to remember that we are at war with terrorists and extremists who mean us harm. This is not a war of traditional means and should not be dealt with through the civil process. We should have an approach that is committed to more vigilance and flexibility and enables our intelligence and security personnel to utilize all the tools at their disposal for the purposes of eliminating the threat to this nation. So this is not a blame game, but it is, I hope, an opportunity for us to talk to you, for you to talk to us, and for us to come to the conclusion that we must be more vigilant in pursuing the people who wish to do us harm. And even in today's paper, they are talking about recruiting more Americans for these terrorist activities in Yemen. and they are focusing on blonde hair and blue eyes, so that it is not someone who would raise flags. So we've got a problem that we need to go through together, and I hope that we can learn from our hearing, from the hearing you had this morning, and that we can have the confidence that we're all going on the same track. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam